Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Raine Plays. Today, we're at Rindle Rose in Willow Creek, and we're going to be redesigning this house, the pink one. I never really had too many issues with it, but it is a typical EA build. Also, I think in the last video, I mentioned that this world is supposed to be based off of, is it New Orleans? And I never been there, so I went online and I just typed in houses and I had a look around, and what they call a cabana is actually a shotgun. It's called a shotgun because the theory is that you can shoot a shotgun through the front door and it'll go straight through the house without hitting anything. And I believe Cabana does that, but I'm not sure about any of the other ones. Maybe Streamlit Single. This one, however, the minute you open the door, you're in the kitchen and then boom, there's a wall. So this is not exactly a shotgun. I think what they tried with this one is to give it some fancy items, just a few, like those over-the-top curtains, the over-the-top bed. It didn't work. Anyway, I bulldoze it and I get rid of the whole thing anyhow, so it doesn't really matter. But while I was looking at New Orleans houses, I don't have a problem with the shotgun. I don't have that much of a problem with the design. They're very narrow houses. I mean, they can't be more than 10 or 12 feet wide. And then they just go straight back and there's hardly any yard. And the problem I have with Rindle Rose is there is no yard. So I made it a little bit smaller so that he had a bit of a place in the back to hang out, privacy, relax after a hard day of working as a tech guru. So I did that. A little bit more pleased with the outcome of this house than I was with that last one on Bargain Bend. I don't know what happened to Bargain Bend. That's usually one of my favorite places to build because it's free range. And I don't know. It came out like this dark, dingy, dungeon-like place. But this one is more modern. I'm not quite sure about the aesthetic of this particular neighborhood. It's a very tiny neighborhood. Well, I suppose Foundry Cove is tiny too. I do not remember the name of this neighborhood. I apologize. Not that it matters. But I'm trying to think of what I should do with the other houses is what I'm telling you. And I don't want to base it off of this first build either. So maybe a little bit more of an eclectic style as we go along. I'm kind of sure what I want to do with the last neighborhood where those Oakenstead and that Cypress Terrace are. But for this one, I don't know. I think it might just be a little all over the place. And I hope nobody minds, because I sure don't. 15 minutes. What am I going to tell you in 15 minutes? I'm playing Stardew Valley at the moment. It is a very addictive game. Even it becomes repetitive because you have to do the same thing every day if you want your crops to survive and things like that. But I haven't completed a majority of, should I say a majority? I haven't completed the mines. I did just recently get married to Elliot, though. That's one of the things. Now, I've played this game, I believe, 3 times. I did not. Yeah, I did. I married Elliot all 3 times. Only because my way of thinking. After you get over the neighbor's initial rudeness, everyone is so mean to you. It's just unbelievable that you would even want to be friends with any of these people. But after you get over that, you start to discover their quirks and their interests and things like that. Alex, the little blonde boy, he and Penny hang out, and Penny seems to have a crush on him. I don't know if he has a crush on her. Sebastian, the dark, quote-unquote cool guy, he seems interested in Abigail. Abigail is all over the place. Abigail is the purple-haired girl that lives in the grocery store. And then Clint, who is the blacksmith, has a definite crush on Emily, who lives with Haley. Emily is the blue-haired girl that works in the bar. So that leaves Alex, who lives with George, and I can never remember George's wife's name. I always want to say Dorothy, but it's not it. Evelyn. He and Haley are always hanging out. Haley is the blonde, very stereotypical blonde, by the way. So when it comes to choosing, and by the way, the doctor, Harvey, he has a definite crush on Mayru. And Mayru is Sebastian's stepsister. So they all have their partners picked out. The only one who doesn't is Elliot. And that's why I keep going with him. I'd like to try, change things up a bit and try someone new, but I don't know, I feel like an interloper, I guess. I'm taking somebody's love away from them, and I just don't want to do that. So that's why Elliot is the go-to. Not that he's supposed to be this handsome-looking. I wonder in the next update if they're going to get rid of his hair. I don't know, because I looked at his over-the-years Elliot pictures, and he has made some drastic changes since the game first came out, but that hair, it's kind of funny. I don't mind it. I love a guy with long hair if he wears it well. So that doesn't bother me. But again, the only reason I choose Elliot every time is because he does not have an already chosen favorite. Right? That was probably a big waste. Oh man, am I boring. I try to think of things to talk about and there's just nothing. It's been a wacky year. We can all agree on that. My goodness. Oh, I know I'm not supposed to talk about the weather, but I just thought it was interesting. I have not seen this in years. But the sky outside is tropical. And what I mean by that is there's white puffy clouds in the sky, but they're not puffy. They're in lines that curve up. They go up, and then they go up, and then they go up, and they kind of billow. Like teeny tiny, maybe instead of ice cream clouds, you would call it the little whipped cream topping clouds. I have not seen that here in years. So I can't remember what it indicates, but we are supposed to get stormy weather tomorrow. And that's the end of weather. I also closed the window this time. I have the fan behind me, but I'm going to try something different with my audio. I'm going to... I think I tried this before and it didn't work out well, but I'm going to give it one more shot. It's called noise reduction, and you're supposed to highlight the entire bit of audio that you record and then click on that and wait. So maybe with this new computer it will work a little bit better than it did the last time I tried. If I recall correctly, that I came back after an hour and it was only at like 8%. So I scrapped it. But you really shouldn't be able to hear too much in the way of background noise this time. Although this room is already becoming quite steamy. And it's only 10 o'clock in the morning. But I want to get this out of the way so I can get back to Stardew Valley. No, I'm flip-flopping between The Sims, Stardew Valley, and YouTube videos. I got addicted again on another YouTuber. His channel is Call Me Kevin. And yes, I know he's played with Jacksepticeye before. But for whatever reason, and this is always the case, he ends up on my recommended right side. And he was playing The Sims, so I thought, okay, well, see what this guy's up to. He's hilarious. He's adorable. He's hilarious. He's a young kid from Ireland. Very funny. I think I almost finished because I ended up binge watching his Sims series. He created a character called Jim Pickens, and if I'm not mistaken, that is an NPC from the game, and he just loved it so much that he picked him out and recreated him, I think, because the NPC Jim Pickens will show up every once in a while in his game. It's kind of funny. It's very enjoyable content, is all I'm saying. So I got stuck on that, but then he had a Stardew Valley series as well, and that went way back to 2017. Should I say way back? It's only been a couple years. So I watched that, and he was an entirely different person. He was so laid back and very calm and, not joking or anything. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because I will take either of them. I thought it was okay. You can be whoever you want as far as I'm concerned. I'm not a judgmental cancel culture type, hop on bandwagons, and I just don't do that. I wish more people would just sit back and think very, very long and hard before they just run headlong into, but it's soapbox stuff, sorry. So I watched his Stardew Valley, and that kind of got me back into Stardew. I'm going to go back here real quick if my audio is up with my video here. I know the wall colors are 2 different colors. I know that. But it's the closest I could come so that I could do an exterior wall that would match. Because if you color the roof, the interior will color that color. And I didn't want a red interior wall. So that's why I switched up the siding on the house. And I at first I was like, oh dear. But then I stared at it for a couple seconds and I'm like, this is growing on me. So I waited a little bit longer and I stared and I'm like, yes, I think this is nice. It's different. So I went with it. And of course the red is because of the door. I put one item down and it ends up dictating the entire build. I do that probably too often. And it's embarrassing. I guess it's embarrassing. I don't know if a lot of other people do that, though. It could just be me. Real quick, too, I hope I'm not off by very much, but that welcome wagon where the Pancakes and whoever that other woman, they've got a really funny name. They live across the street. I think I'm going to delete them. Baggett? He went out on the porch and he was talking to them. And then later when I went in to play him for a couple days, sim days, all of his friendship with them is in red category. Now, I don't know what happened, so I have no idea. And when I was building this here, I still can't tell. I cannot tell if the floor matches the walls. They both had the same swatch in build mode, but if you look, that black floor on the bottom looks like a lightish gray, and then the walls are a little bit darker. But they're both supposed, well, I say black. It's a dark gray, maybe? Whatever. I did the 2 tri-colored wall thing again. I like this wallpaper. And he's a guy, so I went minimal with decorations. Didn't throw too many plants and pictures and all that other cheeky stuff all over the place. And I kept the colors muted. But I'm pleased with this house, and I would not mind living here or playing a sim straight through here. I did make a mistake out here in the hallway, though. His desk. I kept thinking it was the position it was in where he couldn't sit down, he couldn't use the computer, no matter what I did. And I'm like, what is the problem? I kept moving it around and adjusting it, and it turned out it was the lava lamp. I took the lava lamp off the desk and it was fine. So, I don't know. I thought you could put any lamp down on a desk, but apparently that's not the case. I don't understand EA rules. I just don't get it. But real quick, back to Stardew Valley, I watched a couple videos this morning on mods for the game. And while they're interesting, the way you got to set it up is not like Sims 4 mods, but I'm going to look into that a little bit more and see what happens. I have no idea. I cheat in my games. I can't help it. But I don't know. We'll find out. All right, well, it looks like we're coming up on the end here. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you like the end result. I also hope you like my video. I also hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.